Fingerstyle Thursday. Hi kids. Today we're going to talk about interesting subdivisions, which I know is two words never usually put together, but basically we're working in 16th notes and we're talking about how to break them down so they're more interesting to play. Also, the other thing we're going to be talking about is harmonizing the C major scale. So most of us, if we know how to play our C major scale, play it like this, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, if you've got a high G, or below G, but high G is better, you can actually play it on the G string, 5, 4, 2, open, and on the C string, 5, 4, 2, open. And that's another way to play C major scale, but a good way about that is it's really easy to harmonize and add the notes, so we can basically start to build up new chords, and that's what makes it exciting. So we're going to be working with the C major scale, but we're going to be adding harmonies to it in thirds. Now, if you don't know anything about chords, then basically this is how your chords are built up. For example, a C major scale that we're playing here, which is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, alphabet. Your C major chord would be basically the first note, the third note, and the fifth note of that scale. So you play a C, not a D, an E, not an F, and a G. C, E, G. That would be your C major scale. Now, we're playing a C here. This is our first note of the major scale. And actually, I'm only interested in the second note of the chord, which would be the E. So I'm going to play an E on the 7th fret on the first string. So we have the 5th fret on the 4th, and we have the 7th fret on the first string. And that makes us a little C third, but it's basically a C major. So when we talk about scales and we talk about keys, basically all of your chords work the same way from the scale. So I said that a C major chord was C, E, and G. It was the first note, third note, and the fifth note. So you take a note, skip a note, take a note, skip a note, take a note, okay? And that is basically how you get a C major chord. Well, then your next chord, you would do exactly the same thing. So you take a D, you'd skip a note, skip the E, you take the F, skip a note, and then you take an A, and that ends up as a D minor chord. I can't go into too much as to why it's minor versus major, but it's a D minor chord. It's the first three notes from a D minor scale. And then for an E, you do exactly the same. E, miss a note, so no F. G, miss a note, and then B, E, G, B. That's an E minor chord. Now basically, this has a name. It's called the diatonic chords, or the harmonized major scale. And it's just taking your major scale and then adding the next note of the scale. So for example, if you take a C, you'd miss your D and then add your E, and that gives you a nice C major. Obviously for the chord, usually you need the other note as well, which would be the G, but it's not as important as the first two notes. So that's our C there. So for our next shape, we're going to go down, which is the B, which is the next note in the scale because we're descending. And basically, if we go B, skip the next note, which is C, D, B and D, that makes a B minor. In C major, it ends up as a B diminished because it's got an F, but I won't go into that too much. But B and D. So I've got B here, D here, 4, 5, which I'm playing index and ring. So that's a B minor. If you look at the sheet, it'll tell you that. Then next, A, I do the same. A, skip B, add C. That's an A minor. So then I'm going to play my open G. And so G, skip the next note, which is A, add a B. So G and B, I'm going to add this B here, 2nd fret, 1st string. And that's a G major. Now these are basically the start of your chords, okay? So you can call them thirds or you can call them chords. But it's a nice way to basically not quite play chords, but sort of harmonize the notes that you're playing as well. So to start with, that's exactly what we're doing. We're using these shapes there. And then basically when we get down to the F, E, D, C, I'm just basically adding whatever notes I like to, all from the C major scale. So they all work, but basically it doesn't follow the same order that we've followed so far. Right, if we take that first shape, which like I said really is a C major, with all those open strings, it really is a C major. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pluck, and like I said, this is 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a, but I've broke them down into a pattern of 6, a pattern of 6, and then a pattern of 4, which maths will tell you that is 16. Rather than going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and having them as basically really obvious blocks of 4 is actually more fun when you mix up the subdivisions. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've talked about this loads in Fingerstyle Thursday before. It really is one of the easiest ways of making your 16th note sort of fingerstyle or even strumming just sound much more fun because it's almost unexpected and it sounds like it doesn't stick to the main beats. Lots of fun. Right, shut up Sammy, just tell me what the pattern of 6 is, mate, yeah? Okay, so here, with our first C chord, the pattern of 6, we're going to pluck 4, 2, 1. 4, 2, 1. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to pluck 4, 1, 2. So for me, that's going thumb, index, middle, thumb, middle, index. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to play that pattern of 6 twice in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we need a 4 to finish it off. So we're going to go 4, 2, 1, 2. So we end up going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so you can consider that one bar of the chord. So once you play that on your C, we're going to move down to basically those two notes are a B minor or a B minor third, whatever you want to call it. But there we go, I'm using my index on the 4, and then I'm using my ring on the 5. You can use your pinky if you prefer as well. I switch up depending what day it is. So if we apply the same pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. We then move that exact shape down 2 frets, which is an A minor, an A and a C. And we do exactly the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then lastly, we have this basically open G string and 2nd fret. I'm using my middle finger there, but actually any finger will do whatever you like, just get it there. And so we're going to play still the same pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So like I said, these are 16th notes. So technically I'm going 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, but that starts to get really hard when we think about it like that because it gives no actual clues as to how you're grouping the notes when you're playing them. So like I said, I find it easier just having go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how my brain finds it easiest, but please have a play around with it and see what works out for you best. Okay, so that is, there's definitely a song in there. That's all of our harmonized notes on these 2 strings, and next we're going down to the 3rd string, 5th fret. Pop your middle finger there, F major 9. Now for the 3rd string, we have a slightly different pattern. It's the same idea, but just on the right hand, it's ever so slightly different. So we're still going to play the 6, 6 and 4, but the first 6 is 3, 2, 1 now. So we start on the 3rd string rather than the 4th string. 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to go 4, 1, 2, and that's your 6. 3, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2. Then we play that again. And then for the last 4, we're going to go 3, 2, 1, 4. So we go 3, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 4. I'm not sure who that's helpful for. But yes, that's our pattern. And we're going to take that across the remaining chords. So the next chord is a C/E, and all that, there's a fancy name for basically it's a C chord, but your lowest note you change to an E, which is the 4th fret on the 3rd string. And that's all slash chords mean. They're basically, it gives you the name of the chord first, C, but then the lowest note is actually an E instead of a regular C, like it normally would be. So we're going to play the same pattern, 3, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 4. Woo. Then we're going to this E minor/D, and it's basically, it's sort of an E minor chord, but with a D in the bass, but on the ukulele it's a hard one. Basically, it's 0, 2, 0, 2. That chord has many, many, many names. Play the same pattern with that kid. And then finding our last chord, all open. And for the last pattern, just to finish off, we're going to go 6, 6, and then we're just going to play the first note to the 4 and finish there. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. I'll just keep it nicely down. Let's see. And that is everything we have going on for today. Super. Okay, cool. So hopefully that was enlightening or fun or anything about that. If you liked this lesson and it was helpful, you enjoyed it, then please consider liking the video and even subscribing to the channel. All the PDFs are always found on my Patreon every single week. Also, any tabs to the covers I do monthly lessons and monthly Q&A and feedback sessions over on Patreon there. So please go check out the Patreon in the description, have a look over there, and yeah, get some learning done.